There is a financial trap that doesn't hurt when it begins. It doesn't create panic. It doesn't trigger alarm. It doesn't wake you up at night. In fact, it feels normal, comfortable even. You go to work, you earn, you spend, you rest. Nothing dramatic, nothing collapsing, and that's exactly why it's dangerous. Because the most devastating financial mistakes rarely announce themselves. They unfold quietly while you're busy living. And by the time you feel the pressure, the pattern is already years old. The question is not whether this trap exists. The question is whether you're already inside it. The human brain is designed to respond to immediate threats. Loud danger gets attention. Sudden loss gets reaction. Urgency creates movement. But slow decline feels harmless. If your expenses increase slightly each year, you adjust. If your savings rate decreases gradually, you rationalize. If your ambition softens over time, you call it maturity. Nothing feels extreme, so nothing feels wrong. But financial erosion is rarely dramatic. It is subtle, incremental, patient, and patience is what makes it lethal. Consider this carefully. If someone loses half their income overnight, they panic. They adapt quickly. They rethink everything. But if someone's purchasing power shrinks slowly over 10 years, they barely notice. If someone falls behind peers gradually, they compare less often. If someone's opportunities narrow over time, they convince themselves they never wanted more. The trap works because it moves slower than your awareness. It hides inside routine. There is a psychological principle at play here. Humans normalize gradual change. Whatever repeats becomes familiar. Whatever becomes familiar feels acceptable. Whatever feels acceptable stops being questioned. You don't measure your financial life against your potential. You measure it against yesterday, and yesterday looks similar, so you relax. This trap often begins with small compromises. You delay learning a new skill because work is stable. You postpone investing because you'll start next year. You accept income that covers today without considering tomorrow. Each decision feels reasonable in isolation, but compounded over time, these reasonable decisions form a pattern, and patterns are more powerful than intentions. The trap you don't feel is not overspending, it's under-evolving. It's the quiet decision to stay the same while the world moves forward. Industries transform, technology accelerates, markets shift, but your habits remain unchanged. You tell yourself stability is enough, until one day it isn't. There's another dimension that makes this trap dangerous. It slowly lowers your internal standard. At first, you imagine greater financial freedom, more flexibility, more control. But as years pass without intentional progress, your expectations shrink. You stop aiming high. You aim safe, and aiming safe rarely expands capacity. You adjust your dreams to match your current comfort. Not because you lack ability, but because you adapted to stillness. Financial decline is rarely a cliff. It is a slope, so gradual that you don't notice the angle. You feel productive, you feel responsible, you feel reasonable, yet beneath the surface, something is narrowing. Your margin shrinks, your options reduce, your leverage weakens, but it doesn't hurt, not yet. What makes this trap even more dangerous is comparison blindness. If everyone around you is also plateauing, stagnation feels normal. If your peers are equally comfortable, no one challenges the standard. You reinforce each other's acceptance. You're doing fine. We're stable. It could be worse. And that may be true, but fine and worse are not measures of growth. They are measures of survival. Ask yourself something uncomfortable. If nothing in your financial behavior changes over the next 5 years, where will you be? Not in theory, in reality. Will your skills be sharper? Will your income outpace inflation? Will your options expand? Or will you simply be older, with the same patterns? Time magnifies whatever direction you are already moving. If the direction is flat, time does not help you. It exposes you. This trap often reveals itself during moments of external disruption, an economic shift, a job restructuring, a health emergency. Suddenly, the stability you relied on disappears, and you realize you were not building resilience. You are maintaining routine. Routine is fragile. Resilience requires preparation. Preparation requires awareness, and awareness requires discomfort. The most financially secure individuals do something counterintuitive. They assume their current stability is temporary, not in a fearful way, in a strategic way. They treat calm periods as training grounds. They upgrade skills before they are forced to. They increase adaptability before they need to. They challenge themselves while it is still convenient, because they understand something subtle. Comfort dulls urgency, and urgency drives evolution. There is a quiet arrogance in believing that today's security guarantees tomorrow's ease. History does not support that belief. Markets cycle. Technology replaces roles. Global forces reshape industries. The trap you don't feel is believing that because nothing is wrong today, nothing will change tomorrow. Change does not ask permission. It arrives, prepared or unprepared. But perhaps the most unsettling part of this trap is identity. You begin to see yourself as someone who is stable, responsible, balanced, predictable. That identity feels honorable, yet it can also become restrictive. Because once you define yourself by stability, risk feels irresponsible. And when risk feels irresponsible, growth becomes optional. Optional growth eventually becomes non-existent growth. There is nothing wrong with peace. There is nothing wrong with calm. The danger is unconscious drift. Drift happens when you stop steering, when you assume momentum will carry you forward. But momentum without direction often circles back to the same place. When was the last time you deliberately increased your financial discomfort? Not recklessly, intentionally. When did you last push your capacity instead of protecting your routine? If that question feels distant, the trap may already be working. This is not about fear. It is about awareness. Financial decline rarely feels like decline while it is happening. It feels like life, ordinary, manageable, stable. Until one day you look around and realize your options are narrower than they once were. And widening options later is harder than expanding them early. The trap you don't feel until it's too late is gradual complacency. It is the belief that nothing is wrong equals everything is fine. It is confusing the absence of pain with the presence of progress. And those two are not the same. So here is the reflection I want you to sit with. If your financial life feels calm, is it calm because you are building strength? Or is it calm because you stop stretching? There is a difference. One leads to expansion, the other leads to quiet limitation. And quiet limitations are the most difficult to confront, because by the time they become obvious, reversing them requires more effort than preventing them ever did. The trap does not announce itself, it waits. And the longer you wait to question it, the more expensive that silence becomes.